Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for June 17, 2022, the We Did Nothing Wrong edition. And we begin with that story from the Wall Street Journal reporting that Activision investigated itself and found its top executives did nothing wrong. Imagine that. Said it did not unearth any evidence to suggest that senior management ignored or played down reports of sexual harassment. This is, of course, after public reports that the CEO of the company did not tell board of directors about settlements for sexual harassment, and also flies in the face of Wall Street Journal reporting, which said that that same CEO knew for years about allegations of employee misconduct and didn't inform the board. So that's what happens when you investigate yourself. You never find anything wrong. Next up, from U.S. News & World Report, a first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, a Lithuanian woman on Wednesday pled guilty to involvement in laundering more than $4.1 billion through Danske Bank's Estonian branch. The case, in which 2 other individuals have been charged, came to the authorities' attention during the investigation of one of the world's biggest money laundering scandals. A woman told the court she helped launder money via 40 limited partnerships, all of which had bank accounts at Danske Bank's now shuttered Estonian branch. Next up, from the Wall Street Journal, some continued commentary on CCO certification. Still a big deal, and the commentators in the article really point to the foilables of this potential certification. The certification will occur at the end of a DPA or other period. The DOJ says it will bring additional esteem, prestige, and authority to the CEO because they will have to get resources to make the changes to the compliance program to grant a certification. Of course, the certification comes at the end of the process, as you might expect, and it's difficult to see how having that authority at the end of the process is going to get you the authority to do so prior. Plus, of course, potential personal liability. So for a CCO that has to sign that, good luck. And finally, from BNN Bloomberg, a Swiss prosecutor has identified more than $60 million he believes was laundered through Credit Suisse Group AG, which would be a historic criminal indictment against the bank. The prosecutor identified a series of 8 transactions between 2008 and 2014, which he said violated money laundering laws restrictions. So when the Swiss prosecutors find money laundering, you know it's bad. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.